doing BC Recreation. If you're new to yoga, this class is beginner friendly. However, we will be moving around quite a bit. We'll start slow with our warm-up, focusing on our breath, bringing attention to our body, move into the bulk of our practice where we're moving around a bit more on our mat, picking up our heart rate. We finish with a cool down, slowing down our movement, returning our focus to the body, and ending on our backs in a final rest period where we remain still for about 2 to 3 minutes. I want to remind everyone during this practice to always listen to your body, take breaks if you need to, don't push yourself, and always check with a doctor before you start a new exercise regimen. Today we're going to get started in a seated position, facing the front of the mat. Any comfortable seated position will do. The legs don't have to be pulled close to the body. They can be more of a loose pretzel or a loose diamond shape. Wiggle the hips towards the back of the mat and let the chest send forward. Gaze down towards the body. Place your hands somewhere at your sides or maybe on your legs, palms face up. And start to bring your attention to your breath. Notice the little movements the body makes as you draw a breath in, and the subtle movements the body needs to let breath out. Start to breathe in through the nose and exhale out through the mouth, cleansing breaths. Deep breath in through the nose. Slow exhale out through the mouth. Take a few more rounds of breath just like that. And then return to your normal pattern of breath. And look forward. Take your right hand to left shoulder and press down gently. Let the head fall to opposite side. Getting a nice stretch on the side of the neck. Take a few breaths here. Keeping length in the spine. Lift head through center and switch sides. Left hand crosses over to right shoulder. Head falls to the left. Now lifting the head through center, interlacing the fingers, taking them behind the head and gently pressing chin down towards the chest. Maybe feeling the stretch down the back. Gently release, bringing the tops of the interlaced fingers now to the bottom of the chin, gently pressing the head up towards ceiling, elbows touching together. Shoulders relax down the back. And release, lowering head back down through center. Place both hands at your sides. Extend the right arm up towards the ceiling, reaching through the tips of the fingers, rooting down through the sits bones. Left shoulder relaxes down to the floor. If you'd like to increase sensation here, you can find a slight side bend over to the left. Slowly return hand down to the floor. Left arm up to the ceiling, reaching through the tips of the fingers, holding here. Adding the side bend if you did so on the opposite side. Then returning hand to mat. Bring hands to the knees and round the spine. Drop chin to chest, drawing belly back to body. And slowly lift and arch the spine, tilting head up towards the sky. A few more times at your own pace, rounding spine, chin to chest, and lifting and arching. A few more times, closing the eyes if that makes you more comfortable. And then finding stillness. Twisting from the belly, turning towards the right into spinal twist. Left hand directly in front, right hand directly behind. Gazing out behind you. Deep breaths into the chest. Slowly untwisting, returning to center before spinal twisting to opposite side. Right hands directly in front. Shoulders are relaxed down the back. And release, turning forward. Bring the bottoms of the feet together into butterfly pose, pressing firmly into the pinky edges of the feet, finding length of the spine, relaxing knees down towards the floor. The closer the heels are to the body, the more sensation you'll feel in the hips. So scoot them away if you need a little less sensation. And hold for another few breaths here. Extend just the right leg forward, out in front of you, keeping a slight bend in the knee, flexing the foot. Lift both arms overhead and find the fold, lowering ribs down towards the thigh, placing hands down at the sides, and gazing down towards the mat. If your belly and ribs are not making contact with your thigh, I want you to bend the knee a little bit more. And you can take that in the opposite direction as well. If you would like a little more sensation, start to straighten the extended leg a tad more. Don't lose contact rib to thigh. And we'll slowly rise the spine upright. Come back to butterfly pose, bottoms of feet together. Then extend the right leg out towards your side, heel off the mat. Find length through the spine and twist towards the bent knee. Right foot is still flexed. Return to butterfly pose, bottoms of feet together. Left leg extends forward, keeping a slight bend in the knee, foot is flexed. Lifting both arms overhead, breathing in through the nose. Exhale out the mouth as you find the fold, belly to thighs. Few deep breaths here. Lift the spine upright. Return to butterfly pose. Open the left leg nice and wide, heel off the mat. And spinal twist towards the bent knee. Stretching the back of the leg, the inside of the leg, all the way to hip. Return to butterfly pose for the final time and extend both legs forward, slight bend in the knee, feet are flexed. Inhale as you lift both arms overhead. Exhale as you fold, returning belly to thighs. Keep the chest bending forward and belly drawing in. Slowly return to seated position and swing the legs behind you, coming into tabletop on the hands and the knees, wrists stacked under shoulders and knees stacked under the hips. Lift up to the tips of the fingers Extend your right leg behind you, pointing through the toes, lining the heel up with the hip. Giving me a crunch, drawing me to chest, rounding the spine, pulling belly in, then stepping or placing the foot into lunge, ankle right below the knee. Slowly lift the right arm up to ceiling, into twist, gazing up at the hand. Right foot stays flat to the mat. Belly is touching the thigh. Slowly lower the upraised hand back down to the mat. Breathe in through the nose, lift both arms overhead. Exhale out through the mouth, return fingertips to mat. One more time, breath in through nose as we lift arms overhead. Exhale out through the mouth as we return fingertips to mat. Extend the right leg behind you, pointing through the toes before you returning to tabletop, knee to mat. Left leg extends, heel in line with hip, pointing through the toes. Giving me a crunch, drawing you to chest, rounding spine, placing or stepping the foot into lunge. Slowly lift left arm up to ceiling, into twist, gaze up, deep breath in. And take a few more breaths here. Exhale as you return the upraised fingertips to the mat. Breathe in through the nose as you lift both arms overhead. Exhale out through the mouth as you return fingertips to mat. Nice and slow. One more time. Deep breath in to lift arms overhead. And slow exhale out. Arms come down. Extend left leg behind you. Point through the toes and return to tabletop. Lower into puppy pose, bringing elbows down to the mat, stacked under the shoulders, palms face down to floor, and head relaxes. This is option 1 for your rest position during this class today. You're welcome to come to this position anytime during the practice. You do not need to wait for me to cue you to do so. Option 2 is to settle all the way to child's pose, bringing the big toes to touch, settling hips down to the heels and resting forehead to mat. Try them both out, see which works better for you, which feels better in your body. And we'll hold here for a few breaths. Sort of honoring the finish of our warm-up. Bringing attention to our bodies. Slowly return to tabletop position. Spreading the fingers nice and wide, tucking toes onto the mat. Pressing into the tips of the fingers, the top of the palm, and out through the thumb. Draw low belly in. If you're familiar with down dog, lift hips up now. Otherwise, we'll take it in parts with me. Start by lifting knees off the mat. Keep the knees bent as you press the hips up towards the ceiling, bringing belly back towards the thighs. Gazing between the feet. Still pressing in all those points in the hands, fingertips, top of palm, out through thumb. Hips are reaching high towards the sky. Low belly is drawing in. Breath is deep. Now look forward and step or place your right foot into lunge, ankle below the knee, lifting up to the tips of the fingers. Step up to half lift. Left foot steps up to the top of the mat. Back is parallel to floor, hands to shins. Lowering to forward fold, gently bending the knees, dropping ribs to thighs, letting arms and head hang heavy. One vertebrae at a time will round the spine up to a standing position, leaving chin tucked to chest until you make it all the way to the top. Giving a deep breath in through the nose, lifting arms out at your sides, up overhead. Exhale out through the mouth, lowering arms back down at your sides. Again, deep breath in, lifting arms up. Then exhale back to forward fold, gently bending the knees so ribs can make contact with thighs. Let the head hang. Crown of the head reaching towards the floor, hips reaching towards the sky. Slowly rise to half lift, flattening the back, hands to shins. And step back into a plank position. Bend the knees so you can plant your hands. Then lower the knees to tabletop. Lean forward for Chaturanga, shoulders out past the wrists, then bend the elbows, keeping them close to the body to bring chest to floor, then hips to floor. Hands under shoulders, elbows up to the sky as we lift the chest off the mat, drawing low belly into baby cobra and pressing to our rest position, coming into puppy, elbows to mat, or child's pose, hips to heels. Take a few deep breaths here. As you inhale, rise to tabletop. Spread the fingers wide, engage, tuck toes to mat, and lift the hips to down dog, keeping knees bent if this is your first time or first few times trying down dog. Keeping low belly drawing in, you're still gaining strength. Focus on the breath. Look forward and step or place your left foot into lunge, lifting up to tips of fingers. Step up to half lift, flattening the back, feet together. Lower to fold, ribs come down to the thighs. Inhale as we slowly rise to standing. Taking your time, there is no rush here. Once you make it up, deep breath in, lifting the arms overhead. And we exhale back to forward fold, ribs come down. Slowly rising to half lift. And stepping back into a plank position before finding tabletop, knees to mat. Leaning forward, shoulders past the wrist, bending elbows, keeping them close to body. Chest comes down, hips come down. Lifting into baby cobra, using the strength of our belly and our core to lift our chest. Shoulders wrapping behind the heart. Then pressing to your rest position, puppy pose or child's. Slowly rising back to tabletop and lifting to down dog, hips up to the ceiling. If your hamstrings or your legs are starting to feel a little loose, you can start to press one heel down towards the mat and then switch to the other, focusing on one leg at a time. Or maybe you can shift the hips side to side if you like to find a little movement. Now look forward, stepping or placing right foot into lunge. Stepping up to half lift, flattening our backs. Lowering to forward fold, belly comes down to thighs. And slowly rising up to standing. Feel all the muscles in the spine, and your core, and your legs working to get your body upright. One last time through, deep breath in, lifting arms overhead. Exhaling to forward fold, belly meets the thighs. Rise half lift, flattening the back. Stepping into your plank position, finding tabletop, then Chaturanga, elbows close to body, come all the way flat. Lift your chest, shoulders behind the heart, and press to your rest position. Return to tabletop and find down dog, hips up to ceiling. Remaining still or finding a little bit of movement, whatever suits your body. Maybe you want to skip this down dog, you can stay in your rest position. Customize your practice to fit your needs. Look forward, stepping left foot into lunge. Stepping up to half lift as we breathe in through the nose. Exhaling to forward fold out through the mouth. Trying to draw the inhale out as we slowly rise to standing. Then exhaling whenever we make it to the top. Arms overhead again. Gaze up to ceiling. Lower to fold, belly returns to thighs. Rise half lift. Step your right foot back into a lunge position, bringing fingertips to mat, framing the forward foot. We're on the ball of the right foot. Left knee stacked right over the ankle. Lower right knee down towards the floor, tuck the toes, top of foot to mat. Slowly lift the left arm up to ceiling, into twist, drawing belly in, gazing up to ceiling. Option to take this pose further is to lift the right knee back to the air, tucking the toes, lifting the knee. Do not feel the need to take the pose further if you don't feel you'd like to in your body. Everyone return the upraised fingertips back to the mat. If the right knee is on the floor, go ahead and lift it off the floor now. Bring hands to thighs and lift both arms overhead up towards the ceiling. Left knee is still stacked right over the ankle. Then open into 5-pointed star, turning to face the long edge of your mat, lowering arms down at shoulder height. Feet are facing forward. Make sure you're standing firmly on your feet on the outer and inner ball, outer and inner heel. Turn the right toes to face the back of the mat and bend the knee into warrior two. Stacking the right knee right over ankle. Gazing out towards the right middle finger. Hips and shoulders facing the long edge of the mat. Lower to side angle, bringing elbow down to thigh, lifting left arm to frame the ear, finding a slight twist so left ribs reach up towards the ceiling. Return to warrior two, arms are at shoulder height, and straighten the bent knee, returning to 5-pointed star, feet forward. Left foot turns back to the front of the mat, bending the knee into warrior two, stacking over the ankle, then windmilling the arms right down to lunge, lifting right heel back off the mat. Step back into your plank position, lower your knees to tabletop. Lean forward for Chaturanga, bending the elbows, keeping them close to body, lay all the way flat. Inhaling to lift your chest, baby cobra. Exhaling to your rest position. Take a moment of stillness here. Bring some attention to your breath. Slowly return to tabletop. Exhale as you find down dog, hips up to the ceiling. Take a few more breaths here. Give me at least one deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Again, finding movement or remaining still. Excuse me. Step your right foot into lunge. Step up to half lift. Lower to fold, belly falls to thighs. And slowly round the spine up to standing. Once you make it up, deep breath in, lifting arms back overhead. Slow exhale out as we return to fold. Inhaling as we rise to half lift. Exhaling as we step left foot into lunge, fingertips to floor. Right knee is stacked right over the ankle. Lower the left knee down to the mat and untuck the toes. Slowly lifting right arm up to ceiling, drawing belly in, gazing at the upraised hand. Deep breaths. Option to lift left knee back off the mat. You did so on the opposite side. As you exhale, returning fingertips to mat. If left knee is still on the ground, go ahead and lift it now. Everyone bring hands to thighs, extend arms overhead. And open to 5-pointed star, facing the long edge of your mat. Feet forward, arms at shoulder height. Turn your left foot to the back of the mat and bend the knee into warrior two, holding here. Gaze out over left hand. Lowering to side angle, elbow comes down to thigh, right arm frames the ear. Twisting belly up to ceiling. Return to warrior two, straighten the bent knee. Return to 5-pointed star, feet forward. Right foot turns to the front of the mat. Bend the knee into warrior two, and windmill the arms right into lunge. Step back into plank, find tabletop position. Lower to Chaturanga, elbows close to the body. Inhale to lift the chest. And exhale to your rest position. A few moments of rest here. Slowly return to tabletop. Exhale as you find your down dog position, hips up to sky. Checking back in with your hands. Are you still distributing the weight through the hands? Fingertips top and bottom of palm, out through thumb. Look forward, stepping left foot into lunge. Inhale as you step up to half lift. Exhale as you lower to fold. Try to draw the inhale out as you rise to standing. Then exhaling at the top. Bring both hands together at heart center. Slowly lower chin towards chest. And just take a few moments here. Focusing on your breath. Noticing the rate of your heart. Slowing down our movement a bit so we can move into some balancing work. Shift all the weight into the left foot. And slightly bend left knee. Still engaging the leg. You should feel the muscles around your knee lift. Left glute is active. So that nice, strong, standing leg has a tiny micro bend. Don't lock out the joint. As slowly as you can manage, we're gonna lift right knee until it's in line with the hip, flexing right foot. Then lower the foot down to the mat. If it's not as quick or as smooth as you'd like, that's okay, as long as you're committed. Then imagining we have a pole that's attached here at our side, keeping our heel in line with our hip. We're gonna hinge forward at the hip. So right leg has to raise as we go, keeping the foot flexed, just a few inches, and then we'll come back to standing. Remembering that the standing leg has that tiny micro bend. Switching to the opposite side, all the way into the right foot, tiny micro bend, and engage the thigh, engage your glute. Slowly bending left knee in line with hip, and stepping foot down to mat. Now that pole is attached to our other side, we're gonna hinge forward at our hips, lifting left leg as we go, just a few inches, keeping core engaged, then returning to standing. Switching sides, weight in the left foot, right knee bends. We're working our core here as we're working on our balance, and foot returns to mat. Heel stays in line with the hip as we hinge forward, lifting right leg, and returning to standing. One last time, finishing up on the opposite side. Weight shifts into right foot. Left knee bends, nice and slow. Foot steps down to mat. Hinging forward at the hips, lifting left leg, then returning to standing. Lower arms down at your sides, lower chin to chest. Start to deepen the breath. And even though your chin is lowered towards your chest, stand nice and tall with purpose. Now look forward, deepen the breath in through the nose, lifting arms out and overhead. Exhaling out through mouth, lowering arms down by our sides. 2 more times. Deep breath in, arms lift overhead. Exhale. Again, breath in. Now exhale to forward fold, belly returns to thighs, nice and slow. Take a few breaths here, reaching your crown of the head towards the floor. Maybe slowly sway side to side, keeping core engaged. Rise to half lift, flatten your back. Step back into your plank position. We're going to hold this plank here for 10 seconds. If you'd like to lower down to your belly early, you're more than welcome to do so. We've got only another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower all the way down to your belly. Bring big toes to touch. Let heels fall away from one another. Turn your head so you can rest on your cheek. And lower arms down at your sides, palms face up towards the sky. Relax the shoulders onto the mat. Relax everything onto the mat. We'll take a short rest period here. If you want a deeper stretch for your neck, you can turn your head so you're resting more on your ear than you are your cheek. Now slowly turn your head to the opposite side, starting on your cheek first. Moving to the ear if you're deepening the stretch. Bring your chin to the mat, place your hands underneath your shoulders, and press one last time into your chosen rest position. Slowly make your way to a seated position in the center of your mat with your legs extended out in front of you. Gently flex the feet, slightly bending the knees if you need a little ease and sensation of the legs. Lifting both arms overhead, dropping chin to chest and rounding the spine into rounded back stretch, bringing hands down to the knees, pointing elbows out to the long edges of the mat, relaxing shoulders away from the ears. Gently decompressing the spine, creating space between the vertebrae. And the neck all the way down the back to the tailbone. Try to deepen the breath, Slowly start to lift the spine upright, finding staff pose, placing hands on either side of your hips, finding length through the spine, out through crown of head, before relaxing to a neutral position. Bend your knees so your feet are planted on the mat. And bring your hands to the front of the legs, finding length through the spine, sending belly forward towards the thighs. Taking a few rounds of breath here, just lengthening the spine. And adding a twist, reaching our right hand directly behind us, gazing over right shoulder. Relaxing left shoulder away from the ears. Slowly returning to center and twisting to the left, gazing out over the left shoulder. Slowly returning back to center. Now placing hands on the back of the thighs so we can slowly round down until we're flat on our backs. Extend both legs down the length of the mat. Just taking a few moments here, maybe hands are on the belly. Just bringing your attention to any sensation you're feeling in your body. Draw your right knee in towards your chest for Abhanasana, flexing the feet, interlacing the fingers, holding below the knee to pull thigh close to body. If you feel any discomfort on your knee, hold on to the back of your thigh instead. And just take a few breaths here. Hoping to relieve any tension in your low back. Then gently release, returning your leg down the length of the mat. Drawing left knee in towards your chest, interlacing the fingers, holding below the knee, flexing the feet. As we slow down our practice, I invite you to close your eyes as much as you feel comfortable doing so. Gently release your hold, returning leg to mat. Now drawing both knees in towards the chest, feet side by side, holding below the knees or on the back of the thighs. And taking a few breaths here. Release your arms down to the floor at shoulder height, palms face up to ceiling. And slowly lower the knees to the right into recline spinal twist. Just as low as it feels comfortable for your body. Maybe knees touch all the way down to the floor. If you need any ease in this twist for your back, just lower the knees, lower than hip height. Heads turn to the left. Right shoulder presses down towards the floor. Slowly draw the knees back to center, then let them fall over to the left as head turns to the right. Lowering the knees if you need to find some ease. Slowly draw the knees back to center, wrapping your arms around the legs, however feels comfortable. Slowly breathing in through the nose, lifting your head to meet your knees, holding your breath at the top. Then exhaling out through the mouth to lay flat on your mat, separating your legs and your arms nice and wide. Letting toes fall out away from one another, palms face up. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you exhale out through your mouth, let completely go onto the floor. Imagine body melts to the mat with every exhale. Relax the brow and drop your tongue from the roof of your mouth. And follow every rise and fall of your chest. If your focus has wandered, bring your attention back to your breath. Start to deepen your breath. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, welcoming movement back into your body. And slowly rolling over to the right side of your body, taking a moment of stillness on your side, maybe using your arm to support your head. Keeping your eyes closed or your gaze low to the floor, slowly press yourself up into any comfortable seated position. As always, to finish class, we'll take 3 cleansing breaths together as one. That's breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Today we're going to add movement to our breath. As we exhale, we'll round the spine, dropping chin to chest. As we inhale, we'll lift and arch the spine, tilting head up towards ceiling. Let's all start on an exhale, rounding the spine, lowering the chin, releasing all the breath we have in the body. Then breathing in through the nose as we fill the body with breath, lifting and arching, tilting head up to sky. Then exhaling out through mouth and rounding the spine. 1. For 2, we inhale, lifting and arching nice and slow, tilting head up to ceiling. Then exhaling out the mouth as we round the spine, lowering chin back to chest for 2. Breathing in for 3, deepest breath yet as we lift and arch, tilting head up towards ceiling. Then exhaling, finishing, rounding spine, chin to chest. Lift the spine into a neutral position. Take a quick moment to thank your body and your mind for getting you through this practice. There is a light that exists within me that honors the light that exists within each and every one of you. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed this practice. If you're looking for something a little more challenging, a little more toning for the body, I do teach a core yoga class that airs every Wednesday at 8 a.m. If you have questions, comments, concerns, please reach out and leave comments. We'd love to hear from you. Please check out our rest of our classes and everything we have to offer. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your week.